It's going to be a disaster. It's going to do him after doing that.
It shouldn't be everybody up. The problem is that I can't, well,
Testing. I don't know. You too. Testing. 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 we need some more time on the minutes. At this time, we have comments back on the minutes. Defer that to another time. Moving on to unfinished business. The Harvard parking lots. We have received a quote from one vendor and a proposal from another. The proposal was $1,750 to go through and develop a plan. The other one was from a vendor who does a proposal that's supposed to sit down and meet with us and talk about a few of the fine details before he finalizes it. Do you have anything to add, Charlie? That's correct. We have many calls into it. Yes, there's been no response. So they're the big three in the that do this type of work. So. The initial quote that we received from the vendor that did this quote was $98,000. That includes the fixtures, installation, any underground drilling that needs to be done to the end of the parking lot. And then also the controls and programming. Excuse me if I presented this $95,000 later in the show. That doesn't really just to take care of the ones. So, next item up is the boat trailer parking. The contract has been signed with yes. Last time was 65,000. That was presented at the last board meeting. Next is you requested as-built drawings as an update, and just that we've given them the job and they've started to do it. Okay. And then have another report on that until we receive them in the bid. Okay. Do you have time for the bid? Okay. That's 65, 887, 66. I'm still going to go with 65. CWS and Water Quality. Please, staff, let me see this. Okay. What you're going to hear is one guy's opinion. And then I'm going to ask the board and staff for some support on a project if the board supports it. This has not been presented to the board as a project in the past. Background for your benefit is that CWS announced a rate increase, which over several years will total an increase of 34% on water and sewer charges. The process for these is you go to a hearing before public staff, and once you complete the hearing, they take everything they've got and they give it to North Carolina Utilities Commission, and North Carolina Utilities Commission commission makes a final determination. We don't think we've won in our attempts to stop that increase, but a final determination has not been issued that I know of as of today. Let's assume the worst for a minute and we do lose and we're going to have a big rate increase. What options do we have left? The option that I see is we hold our feet to the fire for some water quality and some service. What a concept. So, I woke up the other day and my neighbor, bless his heart, this is a technical and financial term. Those who don't understand it, just bear with me a minute and I'll explain it. He was bitching to his Facebook buddies about water quality. And I thought, all right, good them, Tiger. And I started scrolling down. And there were literally dozens and dozens of people on the same thread on Facebook bitching about their water quality. Somebody else chimed in about post service and repairs. I get all of that. I've seen all of it. I put in my own water refining system in my house when I moved in and saw the quality of water we have. But I know that not everybody does that, wishes to do that, or can afford to do that. I think we have a right to better water, and I think we have a right to better service. So, concerns that we've heard: persistent discoloration, odor and taste, sediment and particulate matter. I've got a sediment filter on my inbound line that clogs up in 60 days. High cost relative to service quality. I don't think anybody will complain about that or take issue with that. Slow and ineffective responses from Carolina Water Service and C. Poor maintenance responsiveness, including completion of repair jobs and recent rate actions. Often in our residents have reported brown or yellow water, cloudiness, sulfur odors, chlorine odors. The person who never had a chlorine odor, that makes one in a row. Visible particles, staining of fixtures, slow response for major repairs, and slow completion of major repairs. They seem to have a pattern of coming in and fixing the main and leaving the pavement open at the time. You're going to hear a report about one that's been open for quite a while, I think since 2024. I didn't know about that one, but we had one down on Boundary that was open for a year. I had to get Mr. Donovan, who happens to be the CWS and the president of CWS, involved in that. So they're slow in completion of major repairs. So who are these people? They're privately owned utility. They serve 38,000 people across North Carolina. That makes us one of their biggest customers. We're one of their biggest customers, and we are not getting good service. Now, when they propose a rate increase, because it is a regulated utility, that increase is approved by North Carolina Utilities Commission. I hate acronyms, but I slid this one in there because it's going to show up again in a little bit. The water is required to meet federal EPA standards. When I lived in Florida, I had a friend that was in the water business. And he said most of the crap that you get in your house is EPA compliant. Because all they have to do is show a certain amount of chlorine, a minimum threshold level of bacteria, and I think there's a standard for fecal matter in there, and that's about it. Bless your heart. It's like 28 parts per million, but it's in there. But they came out and they tested mine, and it was harder than a brake. And they said, we don't test for hardness. We're not required to test for hardness. And they're right. still think we deserve better water. CWS is required to respond to customer complaints and maintain service quality. Raise your hand if you've complained to CWS and had a response. Regulatory oversight number one. There are 3 levels here. We have to go through them. NCUC, North Carolina Utilities Commission Public Staff. These are the people that hosted the hearings we went to. They are by law required to be our customer advocate, to listen to our complaints, to document our complaints, and take them back to CWS and insist on a response. They do the investigation, and they are our most effective first step in escalating this dispute. And I'm going to call it a dispute. Number 2 is the NCUC, North Carolina Utilities Commission themselves. We don't get to complain directly to NCUC. We have to go through public staff. Doesn't mean we can't go to both of them at the same time. But they actually handle formal complaints and rate cases. They are the deciders of what's right and what's been done correctly. And then if they don't get it done, we can go to the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality Public Water Supply Section. This sits at the right hand of the EPA, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency. And it's their job to oversee water quality and safety. Now, if you've got lead in your water and you can show it, they might respond. But if you haven't worked your way up through the levels with funny color water, funny smell water, or soil repairs, they're not going to listen to you. Our job is to make them listen to us. So, has anybody ever complained about their water? Raise a hand. Oh my God. We don't have that in any sort of a database or any sort of a tabulation. If Neil was here, I'd call it a histogram or a bar chart or a pie chart, but Neil loves charts, but I don't have a chart on that because I don't have any data. First step in our project is going to be for me to ask our staff to reach out and conduct a poll of the residents. And it will say, have you ever reported any of these issues? Check the box, please. We'll collect that. That'll be the start of our project. This will be the statistical underpinning of the next step. I'm going to ask for residents to document their complaints on a complaint form. Did you complete that for me today? It's completed almost. Okay. All right. We'll get that out. It'll be published as part of the program. We'll stack all those up, and I hope we make a nice big fat stack. Anybody remember the yellow pages correctly? 2 of you did. 3 of you didn't. Okay. I'd like a stack as big as the old yellow pages correctly. We've got 2,800 people in here. Let's get some people to actually do some paper. Okay. Does anybody actually remember a phone book? Yeah. There we go. Took a shadow. With that, we'll compile a community summary report and we'll submit a unified complaint packet to North Carolina Water Service Direct and the NC Utilities Commission Public Staff. And if we don't get a response promptly, we'll go off to the DEQ as well. We need to track responses and timeliness, and we will. And we'll prepare for a formal NCDC complaint. This is all the documentation package we're putting together. That's what it's all about. Because if you do a form, fabulous. Would you print 98 copies of that form, please? to have even the people who respond to the survey online, if they have a legitimate beef or think they have a legitimate beef, we'd like for them to fill out this form, put it on paper, and bring it into the office so we have a nice phone book sized, see what I did there? Phone book sized stack of paper to submit. We will submit it. If you have photos, if you know the dates, we'll ask you for those. Report issues to Carolina, look at that, there's a typo in there. Report issues to Carolina Water Service, and we'll create a record. And we'll file a complaint with NC Public Staff. What I'm saying is, once you go to the step where you've documented all this, go ahead and file an individual complaint, then bring the form into us and we'll make a stack. Okay? Then next door to your neighbors and give them a form and say, would you please fill this out if you've got a beef about the water. For those of you that want to do it yourselves, this will be in the meeting minutes. I'll get it out in a new blast somewhere. Here are all the contact information. I encourage you to do an individual complaint, documented, please. And then file that form with us, noting that you complained individually as well. Here's what I expect to have happen. We're going to file with public staff. They're going to go back to CWS. By law, the utility is required to respond. And from what I've been able to read, there are a lot more required to respond to a group complaint than there are an individual. They're going to probably get a review of water quality testing. We may get a lot more actual water quality testing. There was some news that CWS showed up at my house the day after I testified at the rate hearing to test my water again. I'm sure, although they didn't give me the data, that they reported me as EPA compliant. Got enough chlorine, not too much fecal matter, color not too bad. Great. And maybe we'll even generate a corrective action plan. I don't know. I've never done this before. But it's time to use this process to our benefit. If you stretch your imagination a little bit, you might even get a potential rate review or billing adjustment or whatever. And if we don't get it there, we'll just take this big old packet and we'll send it up to the NCUC to that. So I thank you. I'm going to be asking the board for approval for this program because being nice and them and testifying at their hearings didn't do us any good. I'm going to be asking staff for some more clerical support to print, distribute, collate, fold, staple, spindle, and mutilate the forms as we get. Board, if you think this is a good idea, I'll entertain a motion to move ahead. Second. Third discussion. Lee says, Lee says,